All right, so this is the completed draft. Lee Sin, Zaya, Rakan going back over to them. They give it up. They do it for Vi. They do it for Vi when Wukong's also on the table. So very interesting. They go for the Vi Lulu Zeri combo. Vi and Lulu have exceptional synergies. You can go shield bash on Vi and she becomes nigh unkillable while diving into their team. And in the solo lanes, we see a blind pick Gnar into Jax and Twisted Fate. This time they did not opt to ban Renekton. They let Jax come in. Now Jax can punish again, can punish the Gnar. Every time he goes into mini, you jump in. Next time he has to jump out. Well, your jump comes up 14 seconds before his jump does. So there's an extra window for you to engage again. And basically he's going to keep on going for those. But Lee Sin looking to cover. And then Galio, one of the best champions with Dragon's Kick here. And also one of the best champions against Vi in the game. If their composition is show up from Fog with Twisted Fate and Vi to try to get a pick to start the fight or hold someone down, Galio is an exceptional answer to that, as is Rakan and even Lee Sin. So normally we'd give a draft like this to T1. They have been a little bit loose in the tournament, in the games. They've overstepped a few times. I don't think that they're going to get away with many more of them. I dare say they've been a little bit lucky, but tiptoeing the line means that they do find a lot of extra plays as well. So power to them. Now, interestingly, Lulu is not actually in the bush there and could have been spotted out. Rakan at level 1, going for some amount of damage here. We get the W from Guma. So, you know what? I'm so glad they are doing this because so many teams fumble this even at the pro level. You want WW when you play Zaya Rakan. It is not about getting the root at level 2. Yes, it is an option that you can't do. If you get W on Zaya, you can't actually get a root at level 2, but you don't need to because your insane damage at level 1 makes up for it. In this case, though, they're level 1, and with a cull to boot, cull on Guma and 50% health on Keria means that they might just be in a buried position in this bot lane. They don't have the all-in threat at level 2, and then Zeri Lulu is going to be very, very strong in and of itself and is going to outscale. So we may have a position where we have carry through bot lane on KT Rolster. No one expects blue into bot gank. The position of these minions is really just betraying them here. Lee Sin not even going to go back through his jungle, just decides to recall because this is the only way to get to your red buff in time. So no one really expects the blue into bot gank, but they just don't have the window. They're not able to get it, and that puts Lee Sin far behind. T1 looking to pour dirt on the enemies, bury them 6 feet under, instead has opened the door for them in this bot wave. And this will be Aiming's game to carry. Lee Sin even investing in a control ward to place into this bush. He's that afraid of being invaded by Vi at this point. You see him level 2. Vi is full clearing, and Vi will be done with 6 camps before Lee is done with 4. So Vi will be level 4 and first to the Scuttle Crab. You can expect her to win that. Jax also getting the push here in against the Gnar. Hits level 3 first. Opts to ward the Krugs and sees that it's taken. So now they know. Now they know that Lee went from bot to top. Well, you know what? Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't because they didn't see Lee Sin bot. They just know that it's still down. So they'll be using that ward and that timer to sort of piece together the puzzle of where the Lee Sin has been, and could be. Vi, here she is, 329 full clear. Moves out to the bush. Doesn't risk it. Comes out. Doesn't have smite though. Neither does Lee Sin. Vi may be realizing that Lee is only at level 3 and said, yeah, you want to come fight? You can talk to my fist. Lee going to opt to go to the other side of the map. Now, this is a position you don't see much in your solo queue games, but these guys are going to move over. Galio is going to hover that movement to the side of the map. Make sure that they're not going to be contested anywhere. And once they see that it's clear, that's when Galio will come back and allow for Lee Sin to push. Ooh, Keria jumping in, getting another chunk against, but they've turned it into a plus trade. That extra damage, the extra attack speed that you get from Guma activating his W is just so massive. You win out on those extended auto attack trades. And despite not getting all the upfront damage, they end up ahead. So now we've got full health on the Cull Zaya. You know, coming back into lane with 2 longswords. We've got Cull as well from Zeri. I mean, it is amazing how out of La Mode Dorn's Blade has become. At first, we saw just tons of swords and 3 pots. Then we saw sword and refillable. Now we just see Cull and Potion saying, no, we want to be bigger, faster in this bot lane, but you give up a lot to do it. And I dare say that if you show up to a lane with Cull and they have Dorn's Blade, they are going to win that rock, paper, scissors battle with you. But I do like it in a world where a lot of people are playing longsword in 3 pots. You're saying, yeah, Cull, I'm constantly attacking the wave. I'm going to gain 3 health every single time. Big damage. He might go for this. Oh. So if he right clicks, flashes, the right click will auto hit, and then he'd use his E to have an uncounterable auto attack. There would have been a very small frame for Gnar to use his flash to get out of that situation. It would have had to have been during the first 17% of the animation of the first attack from Vi. Anything later than that, and that empowered auto would have killed the Gnar. So I'm surprised if Vi didn't go for it. There was almost no risk to that play. Maybe didn't have... No, we saw that she had the extra charge on the E, so it wasn't that. Would have liked to see the jungler using a flash to try to get rid of Gnars, especially in this Jax versus Gnar environment where we talked about, like, the first time they jump out. The second time they maybe have to flash out. The third time they can jump out. The fourth time they're mega. You know, like, there's a whole iteration. You have to do these sequences over and over and over and, you know, win over the course of 90 seconds. Much easier to do if Gnar doesn't have flash. All right, Vi versus Lee Sin. Now, Vi starting, probably going to go with the chainsword based on these starting items, but could see a little bit of variation. Lee Sin doing very fine for himself considering the late start, but he is down 2 camps. But Owner able to steal red buff, the most important of the early buffs, able to take it away despite being down in the 1v1. This might be enough to swing the level disadvantage. Now, is he going to go for Dragon? They are off of pushing. They're... Oh, no. We don't like seeing pauses. No, quick pause. Oh, it's... we're good. Deems nothing needs to change. Look at these wards that they've got to see whether or not Vi is here. And they're able to collect a dragon for themselves despite having the losing bot lane situation. But here we go. The hard engage. Galio ult ends up not getting anybody, but the taunt gets all 3. And they're going to turn this fight. T1 looking up front. They're very solid here. They should be able to hold. They can turn if they can get their cooldowns right. They have to communicate. They don't do it well. They start staggering their spells. Guma goes in. They trade Galio back on the side. Zeri's going to get a kill. And a huge win from KT. Missed opportunity by T1. They had the lead in that fight for a moment of moments, but it would have had to be instantaneous for everybody to get back in. So there may have been some communication saying, hey, we're missing this cooldown or that one, and we can't go back in. And as soon as you go one by one, the other team is going to win every single time. So huge advantage. Keen also taking it to Zeus. Oh no, but when you miss, it's always super scary. Please pan out. Thank you. They thought they were hovering in for Keen outplaying Zeus, but instead it was the other way around. If you don't get that kill against that ranged champion, they are going to start juking around you in circles. And good thing that they did, because otherwise T1 would have had nothing going for them in this game. Absolutely nothing. As it stands, Guma's going to be first to tag a plate down here. Let's check out the river fight again. So Rakan getting slightly tapped. Aiming going in. Vi dashing in. They move out. Aiming gets hit by the knockup. Galio aftershocking. completely happy to stay there. I would have preferred him to do an E, a backwards E, where he rebounds back. Right here, if you turn as a team onto that Glacial Augment, but you see no one's dealing any damage while the Glacial Augment is in place, right? So you just had that moment. It's got to be bam. Together, you got to move. So let's take stock. We've got a TF passive amount of lead. Maybe a little bit more. Slightly more. But Jax is down by 15 CS despite having some of those all-in opportunities. Zeri is at the same CS despite being 103. Has not been able to turn this in her favor yet, but does have magical footwear, so she's going to have a lot of gold coming through her build as well. So Zeri in position to carry this game. Lulu, Zeri feeling phenomenal about their situation, I'm sure. Jack's feeling totally fine, right? He's going to be happy in this game. They can set up side lanes to either have Twisted Fate and Vi come and gank, or they can... Wait, hold on. We get a big fight. Keria dashing in, and that's it. Or they can just set up for Jax to play 1v1 against the Gnar and be happy with it, right? Look for Vi to ult in with Lulu to back her up. All right, here's the play we're talking about. Oh, the grab to disjoint the jump. Oh, my God. These guys are on... They are on it. Synapse. That's all it takes. One blink is the difference between that Gnar getting under turret and being interrupted by the Vi. So they get the kill. Jax is going to turn this lead into a significant amount of plates. And Jax is golden. KT well on their way to winning this game. I'd like to see one of these games not be seemingly decided at level 1. You know, it's obviously not decided, but huge fumbles from bot lanes at level 1 have completely changed the scripts of what these teams have wanted to do. T1 in game 4 and KT in game 1. Just, you know, make a step, you step too far and one step in the wrong spot. They know how to punish, and they will. You better believe they will. And they do. All right, Keria, are you out of position? Guma going to give a dash target or no? There's probably no fight there. Here we go, dash out. Vi into the Galio. Galio always happy to respond here. Has the Everfrost, is looking for the Vi, but they've got no more cooldowns, so they call to go out. Lee Sin opts back in. Vi's ultimate is there, and they're going to kill Faker and live to tell about it. Vi has her cooldowns up, but Owner on Lee Sin able to get it. Slightly mistimes the next spell, but Lulu's there for the knockup. It's too good. And Twisted Fate gets the kill. Oh my gosh, Lehens. And the flash doesn't connect. Wait, is that a bug? Did that just split around the turret and not hit? It looked like it should have hit. Oh my goodness. All right. Big problems for T1 in this position. Zeri going to get solo plates. Jax already has 4 plates to his name and the assist ahead of the Gnar. He's going to be much bigger. Despite right now, for this short amount of time at least, he's down a level, probably, you know, a quarter of a level. But if he gets back up into lane and gets to spend his advantage, he will be strong. So I like the idea for the turn here. They've got the Everfrost, but a little bit of dyssynergy there. Everfrost being used at the same time as Owner's using his Dragon's Kick. So they don't get the full return on this damage here. But Owner, man, Lee Sin is just so good in these early steps. E a little bit early. He misses it, mistimes it on the Zonias and misses his Q onto BDD. BDD stepping around that minion. But, those feathers look like they're hitting, man. All right. T1, how do you get out of this situation? It's bad. It is bad. You are down 3K. You have the worst comp. You have lesser scaling. The Lulu Zeri is going to be exceptionally frightening. You've got Lulu Vi combos. You've got Twisted Fate to work with Vi. Everything that they like out of this draft. So well balanced, and they are just doing well. They're diving up ahead with extra players. Twisted Fate, seeing that the coast is clear to dive. Galio does have ult, but they keep on moving away from him, so there's not time. They end up blowing this. Oh my goodness. And Zeus trying to come in for the teleport. He does get 1 kill in return. If Rakan's able to turn this would be ridiculous, but Lulu's in range, which means the rest of them are going to die. Galio will escape to keep his life to himself. But this play, the fact that Gnar teleports down to save the play, just trade 1 more kill in each direction, means that the rest of the team is going to get extra benefits. Jax was able to get another wave to himself, and no one is picking up top, which will favor the Jax, right? Because their turret, red team's turret, is closer to dead, so anytime you get extra chip damage, putting a turret close to death is always going to favor you. So he does slide up here now. He's going to try to go collect on this victory. It is a cannon wave, and there's a 1.5 stacked wave here, as happens when the cannons fight each other. And let's see what else will come. Here's the big play. We've got Twisted Fate as Vi's engaging. Zeri jumping over the wall the way that no other carry in the game can do. BDD holding turret for 1 more hit, and they're back. They're off. Jax, all right, let's see. Can they punish? He goes for the turret, but has he dug too deep? The big connect. And they got it. Jax overstepping, going for that turret. Did not need to be there to collect the solo gold. Ends up going for it. T1 reads him and is able to pick this off. This is massive for them. Because if Gnar can get ahead of Jax, it becomes a miserable time for the Jax in the side lane. Taking way too much damage every time that you want to jump forward, even with your counter-strike. All right, T1 on recall timers. We'll see if they pick up their big spikes. So there it is. Zeus using his minion wave to jump up ahead. Gets the Q off. And Jax expertly using the E right there to deny some of the damage, but does not get any stuns. And therefore, Gnar is able to pick him off. The combination of Lee Sin and Gnar, too strong. Now the shops come in. We have Everfrost and Stopwatch for the Galio. We have 1.5 items, including Gore Drinker for Lee Sin, Plated Steel Caps, and Trinity Force for the Gnar. Zaya's working on item number 2. When she gets that Navori, we said she's going to be a huge spike on 2 items. And she kind of never really lets go from that spot on, which is one of the reasons she's so dang good. Zeri, however, on 2 full items. First champion there. We also have Twisted Fate on Rod of Ages plus Lichbane. As they did before. Divine Sunder is done from Vi and Jax, and the Shrelia is done from Lulu. So really all the tools are in place for KT to dominate these fights with the 2-item carry. Zeri is going to love this situation where she's got basically three lives between Immortal Shield Bow and the Lulu. Vi going in, but getting locked up. This is going to be a trade back kill. And not just trade back. There's no extra damage there. So Lulu, despite getting the ult off on Vi, it's not enough to keep her alive. And T1 gets a free kill to their name. So they get a little bit of pressure off the map. We'll see if they decide to step forward. Gnar was doing it as he's going mega, but the team has created enough distance. Dragon is up in 55, which is a little bit too late to try to punish the Vi for this window. Expect T1 to try to reset right now and make sure that they can come back to this Dragon situation with health in their hands. They are going to need to go for it, because when we get further and further into this game, Jax is going to be so strong. Twisted Fate with the global, the fact that Lulu and Zeri are both premium scalers from their positions. Very easy for KT to get to a point that's just too much for T1 to deal with. But, they're fairly well-rounded as well. Galio will get a little bit outscaled. Zaya very strong with her AoE damage. But this is going to be one of her best situations. And we see that KT uses the opportunity to put the Herald in mid-wave. They're going to use this chunk damage to get priority, and they're going to use it to move over into the river. So look for them to get a little bit of extra damage, as they do on Carrier right here. And they actually go for the engage. Vi flanks, and they catch as Gumayusi's ulting backwards to land on the head of Vi as she's diving on Rakan. The lovers die together in each other's arms like Romeo and Juliet. And KT has a foot in the door to game 5. We got some silver scrapes coming on in this game. It certainly is pointing that way. So Jax, Twisted Fate, everyone's going to be so big. Everyone's going to be finishing full second items. We may even have a third item from Zeri coming in as well. And if they do, as Baron, I mean, can you imagine having 3 full items by the time Baron's coming up? She's backing, so she may have it. Here's this play. Use the Rift Herald. Vi flanking off the side. Able to connect with both. Very rare that you see that ability connecting with 2 champions. Ults the Rakan because the Xayah will disjoint it. Xayah jumps up and lands on the head of the Vi as she's coming down. And that means that Zeri aiming is able to get a third one. Doesn't quite get the full Navori Quick Blades, but gets most of it. So they may posture just a bit. Just long enough. They want to go back and get this item for her, because once she does, it's a different ball game for Zeri. We also have the Black Cleavers coming in on Jax and on Vi. So expect them to look for these 3 item spikes on 3 different champions, and the moment they do, that's going to be ball game. Now, something I find very interesting. This Lulu has bought Megatron Cloak versus Xayah, Lee Sin, and Gnar. That is fascinating. I can't say it's right. I really don't see it. If he's looking for a Turbo Chem Tank, maybe. But if that were the case, I would expect other components first. That team is not trying to get on you with AP damage. There's one champion that's dealing any amount of magic damage on that team. So very confused to see that Megatron Cloak. If there is a point of weakness on their team, it might be that. But check it out. Zeri gets back. She's got her Navori Quick Blades. Vi has to be just a breath away from this Black Cleaver, as does Jax. Jax will even be able to sell Doran's Shield and refillable potion if he needs to get that. 10 assists on this Vi. 4, 1, and 8 on BDD's Twisted Fate, showing that, he's been here too. He's been good. He's been solid. Better part of 6 years. Better part of a decade, I should say. BDD has been challenging for one of the top spots. Some people forget about him, because you had Chovy and Showmaker and Zeka come up, but BDD preempted all of them. Here we go. Here's the engage. They find the Rakan. That's it. Okay. Ooh, and Galio used over here. Maybe Galio is just using it to get to the other side of the map. I don't know. So tools are down. Expect them to flex into the Baron very soon now. Again, if they're delaying, it's only because they want the rest of these completed Black Cleavers to get 2 items off of these guys. But just as well, they could do it early. But we do have second item coming in from Lee Sin, Galio, and Xayah. So if they're out, again, we said if they're delaying, it's just because they're afraid of the inventories coming in. Check that out. Gnar and Lee Sin both able to finish Black Cleaver on this mostly AD composition. Zeri, 255 CS at 23 minutes. Aiming, just putting on a clinic for this game. All right, Zeri taking Raptors and recalling for Stopwatch. The single best item that you can get besides the elixirs for this stage in the game. Just everything about what T1's going to try to do. They don't really have the tools to get onto aiming onto Zeri, but Zeri might want to dive forward, doesn't want to get caught making the same mistake that Guma did. If you accidentally overstep, then you've got that Stopwatch, the Captain Jack, to just jump and play, stasis yourself, and let your team rotate around you. But I will say, props to T1, surviving that trough. They haven't given up anything extra, and in fact, Gnar doing just fine for himself here. Up a half item against this Jax is going to look to flex this play. Oh no! Do they call for a pause? They should call for it. Oh my gosh. That is one of the most obnoxious things that can happen to Galio players. When you slingshot backwards, if there's pixels that are like this and you slide across, you can still hit one on the way back in. And it looks like that's what just happened to them. There are parts, it is a hexagon-based map. They are moments where that can happen, but I feel so bad that game and that fight is going to come down to Galio not being able to slingshot in. I'm sure they'll show us again once this Baron goes down. Uh-oh. Oh my god, Owner, you're so good. Single-handedly peeling the team off of Baron to stay alive. This is unbelievable. They send 3 people to try to kill the Lee Sin, fail to do so, and it buys enough time for Keria and Guma to show up. Owner, you're cracked. All right, let's check out this play. So here we go. We got the port in. Zeus looking to continue. Look at that. See? Boom, he got bricked. You slid behind. You ended up right behind that edge and then bop. Face planted into it. If he connects this instead, if he connects onto Cuz and gets Aftershock right there, he doesn't need to wait. He'll have it up the whole time. They would have had that upfront damage. Maybe they still lose this fight anyways, right? Because you've got the Twisted Fate coming in. They're still going to be in a fairly strong position. Aiming, using stopwatch right there in response to Galio's grand entrance or heroic entrance, whatever it's called. But I feel bad for Faker in that spot. So, is Baron on the table? T1 opting to say, hey, we've got some momentum. You guys think that you can recall right here. What if we just go back and take the Baron right now? It's a risky play, probably one for the best. If it's your best chance of winning, it is your best chance of winning. I like that they went for it, but T1 is able to punish accurately. Aiming, despite being low health, he's going to wait for his shields and then use this Immortal Shield Bow to heal back up. While Jax continues to dutifully push. 3 dragons plus Baron. KT stomping down the door, trying to break into T1's house. It's been T1's league all year. If KT could take them down in this game 5, that would be something crazy. Guma, UC. All right, so they go for the full engage in response here. Rakan trying to go with a grand entrance and then taunt people around, but there's not enough continuation. And basically they just get slapped with the wallets right there. And from here on out, level 16 on Twisted Fate. Jax is almost there as well. Zeri 10-0. This champion is enormous, opting to buy a full Bloodthirster on her way back into base, which I love. That'll keep her alive. It's the best item for getting the shield. This is pre-nerf. The Bloodthirster is very, very strong. Giving all sorts of stats and defensive stats, keeping you in good position. It means that Zeri will be able to play super aggressively. Twisted Fate with the ult almost up. Jax with no teleport means he's going to group with the team. Expect Zeri to use part of her Bloodthirster shield plus Lulu shield to take some 1 or 2 hits from a turret. Sometimes, especially if it's in a game-ending situation, that is a way that you can use your shields. We'll see if she opts for it or opts to step back. But KT just going for 1 turret at a time. Look at this ward line. They give themselves a very good line on the 70th percentile of the map, covering everything in this eastern quadrant. If there's going to be movement in this eastern quadrant, the KT Rolster will know about it. Now they may be setting up for Dragon. They may say there's no rush. We're winning by a lot. We can use our wallets, our 10k gold lead for the next fight. We've got a 2 completed item lead from the AD carry. We've got 1 full item ahead from mid lane. Pretty close in the jungle and pretty close in top lane. But that enormous lead, basically the majority of their lead all being in the hands of Zeri, is such a good spot to be in. You also have Lulu a full item up on Rakan. So there's bot diff in this game indeed. Twisted Fate as well, right? Just absolutely massive compared to this Galio. And I wonder going into Game 5 whether or not T1 will be confident with red side, whether or not they'll opt for blue, whether or not they'll try to stick with something like a Galio where it relies on synergy. Galio's always going to be a little bit harder to play unless you're going for a direct counter matchup, right? And if you get something like Camille to go with your Rakan, it can be exceptional, but not once have they pulled off a Grand Entrance, Heroic Entrance combo, right? So the Grand Hero combo, Rakan goes in, uses all of his tools to get into the fight. And then you use Galio to slam down on them once everybody's grouped up. And we haven't seen that play happen yet. It looks like T1's just been on the back foot, not able to do much of anything. And very interestingly right here, looking to press top, maybe trying to get one turret on the far side of the map dusted before the dragon. This may be your last chance to get any amount of gold in your pockets. And KT actually decides to answer it. So we have a little bit of a strange like bluff catch, bluff versus call scenario. How long are you really willing to stay here to go for this turret and try to collect right now? Are you willing to take the whole fight? Galio ulting out. Are they calling a disengage? This can't be right. They have to know that Zeri's not here. They have to take this fight. Take it absolutely. Keen in the middle of the fight. Jack's just going nuts, but gets popped. He's ahead of the rest of the team, and aiming has to pull back. So KT coming from all angles. Lulu has no way to get into this fight. She's completely separated from her team. Zeri can't show up in front, even with that demonstrable item lead. There's a chance that maybe aiming could have, right? You might have been that big. KT is able to consolidate their position. They finally do get back together, and look at these waves. They have a wave in mid, and they have a wave pushing bot. So while they're kiting, they can actually go straight to dragon here. And if there's any amount of fumble, like Zeus right now, he's pinging top wave. The bot lane is not being tended to, which means that this dragon is going to be theirs uncontested. T1 opting not to take the window, saying that if Jax comes back into this fight and teleports into the middle of us while aiming is able to rip in, then it's going to be a completely different fight this time. Also, Jax finishing that Zhonya's means that he will be able to frontline without any problem. Vi, Guardian Angel is down, used it in that fight, could have been even worse. I love what T1 did. Say, hey, we know where your focus is going to be. You're going to be leaning towards the right because of this dragon. But they honestly could have taken the fight right there. And then when Vi dashes forward, this is a death sentence. You get the Vi dead. While the GA is going down, you get the Jax dead. 1 to 1 to 1, just one by one. They're moving together expertly as a squad and deciding, hey, we can go in, we can get more. That slight split is the difference between them actually converting into more. So what can they do now against 4 dragons? KT. Zhonya's done on Twisted Fate and on Jax. Guardian Angel has half a lifespan for Vi. We've got the completed Guardian Angel full build for Zeri until she opts to sell those boots for something like a Phantom Dancer. She's full build. There are no real tanks to speak of, right? Just health stackers in Lee Sin and Gnar. Galio, just a little bit of extra stats. So doesn't need to go for that Lord Doms. Can Zeri be the difference in this fight? 5 items versus 3 from Guma. Now, we will say, Galio, despite being 0-3, has 318 CS. Zaya, despite being 1-4, has 355 CS, clipping at almost 11 per minute despite 4 deaths. That's absolutely astronomical. So Guma is sticking to CS like a glue. And able, if they're able to get back in this game, it'll largely be due to a, highly focused amount of CS onto this Xayah. Will they be able to contain it? This is a kind of weird build from Galio, going from Zhonya's to Everfrost to Rabadons. It may have just been that the spikes were there at the right time to buy the 1250 chunks, but the Zhonya's not, or the Rabadon's not getting the full amount of amplification that would comparable to later. Not that we expect something like a Horizon Focus, but just don't really see Rabadon's third that often. Sometimes you even see Abyssal Masks, but not this game with 0 other champions on your team to benefit from the armor reduction. All right, so let's see the technique. We've got Twisted Fate in the top lane. I don't really like this. I'd like to see Twisted Fate in the middle so that you can ult to either side. But the more they condense the map and the more that they're able to push up, the better position for Twisted Fate he'll be able to get. 3 people able to take down the turret versus 4. Twisted Fate uncontested. T1 they need to just go for it. Keria, you got to bite the bullet. You got to make it happen. Just make them make the play. Do they go for an engage on the other side? Not even. Keen's going under turret to try to fight Zeus. Vi's rotating over. Twisted Fate comes on over. They've got all 3 inhibitors. They've got the kills. That is going to be it. Aiming, flashing forward, trying to get some extra damage, trying to pad those stats. Look at the size of those shields. And they are huge. And they are going to Game 5. Silver Scrapes. Cue it up because we got a banger on our hands. Game 5 is next.